As far as the status of the Quran is concerned, you can see these verses, they clearly tell us that the Quran has this status of being the mizan. If you can look at this Arabic word here, right here, where the cursor is pointing to. And the second is al-Furqan, mizan and al-Furqan. And basically, both imply something very close to one another. But let us look at the translation also. The first verse is Allahul Lazi anzal al-kitaba bil haqqi wal mizan. It is God who has revealed with truth the book, which is the scale. It is God who has revealed with truth the book, which is the scale. So, which means that the Almighty has revealed this book in a way that it is absolutely something which is based on the truth, and it has a very specific purpose, and it is the mizan, the scale. Now, of course, the word scale, if you look at its general connotation, like if you pick up a scale, you can weigh things. So primarily what is meant here is that as far as religious guidance is concerned, wherever you find any discrepancy, wherever you find any difference of opinion amongst people regarding religion, you can just present it before the Quran. It's like a yardstick. It's like a scale which can weigh that thing that you have presented and give you the answer. And on a very similar note, let us look at the parallel verse, the next verse. It says, Tabarakallazi nazzara al-furqana ala abdihi liyakuna lil'alamina nadhira. Blessed be he who has revealed Al-Furqan to his servant so that it may warn the whole world. Of course, referring to Prophet Muhammad, the servant here. The word abd in the Arabic language means someone who is in service of someone, of course, referring to the Prophet. And it says that the purpose of revealing Furqan is that it may warn the whole world. Now, the word Furqan, just as the word Mizan that you studied in the previous verse. So, Mizan means a scale, and Furqan means something which distinguishes falsehood from good. Anything which is false, anything which is not correct, anything which is incorrect. So that is something that will be that can be made known through the Quran. So if you look at the Quran says, I am the distinguisher between good and evil, which is, of course, Furqan, and I can tell you what right and wrong are. So this is the status that the Quran occupies, that you can, any religious fact that comes to your mind, any religion, anything which relates to religion, you can find out. It's like a dictionary, or it's like a thing that you can consult and present that fact before the Quran, and it will tell you whether it's right and wrong. And this, of course, is something huge, because you see, if you have a reference point from where you can know what right and wrong are, then you are in a position to guide yourself and be guided, because now you know that if there is a difference, then we have the verdict of God. We would have what God is going to say. And so things like Trinity, for example, which is a Christian belief, and as far as Judaism is concerned, there is a Judaic belief which says that they are the chosen people. So, I mean, if these are the two concepts, one from the Jews and one from the Christians, if we present this before the Quran, it will tell you whether this is a right belief or not. Trinity, of course, is something which the Christians, they very strongly believe in. They don't say, or they don't claim that this is something which is against monotheism. They say that it is basically an expression of monotheism. But the Quran has said that it is not acceptable because Trinity actually amounts to polytheism. It's like associating partners with God. Similarly, as far as being the chosen people is concerned, the Jews are told that chosen does not mean that, I mean, they were given certain benefits or they thought that they have some superiority. No, they were chosen for a certain task in their times, and that is that they were meant to deliver the truth to the rest of the world. But when they did not fulfill this duty, they were deposed from their position, and the new Ummah, or the Muslim Ummah, or the Ishmaelites, they replaced them. But the Jews still hold on to that concept of being the chosen people. And the Christians still hold on to the concept of Trinity. So I was just giving you two examples that when the Quran says it is the Furqan, or the scale, or the distinguisher between right and wrong regarding things which relate to religion, then you can find out. And that is precisely what the Quran has done in the case of these two concepts and any other concept. So remember, what you're talking about is religious concepts. It's not that you're going to find out things which are very, something that you can know for yourself what right and wrong are. Because our conscience, our intellect, and common sense are always there to guide us a lot. So many of these things will be guided through our intellect, through our common sense, and through our conscience. We are referring to hardcore religious facts, which at times have become different between people. That the Quran is like something in which you can gauge what the right and wrong are. And mind you, this is a huge thing because you see, the Jews and the Christians, in spite of the fact that the Torah and the Injil still contain a lot of truth, a lot of things that we can learn, because we don't find them in the original words. We don't find the original Torah or the original Injil. So they could not have become the scale. They could not have become the Mizan, because to become a Mizan, it means that the original must be protected and preserved. And also the importance that you might now realize here is that the Quran holds the ultimate authority on everything, even on the prophet who had brought the Quran. Even if he says something, it is reported that he maybe said something, and that report reaches us through a hadith, or maybe a history, or maybe anyone who says something. If it is against the Quran, if it does not fall in conformity with the Quran, then in spite of being the word of the Prophet, it will not be accepted, because the word of the Prophet has reached us, of course, through various means, and there could be errors and omissions in those means. So it is the fact that everything will be held subservient to the Quran. Nothing will be above the Quran. Also, too importantly, we have to understand that the Quran discusses things which are beyond at times beyond our intellect to understand and decide. So remember, the Quran is not going to discuss everything in this world. This is also a very common misconception, that people think that when you study the Quran, you'll find everything, answer to every problem that comes to your mind. No, that is not the case. Because for a lot of problems that come to our mind, a lot of things that we think of, they can be solved by our common sense, by our intellect, and by our conscience. All these things, they have been given to us by God. And therefore, it has to be, in all cases, understood that whenever there is a clash between the words of the Quran and anything which is outside of the Quran, it could be the Bible, it could be the hadith of the Prophet, it could be any historical report, it could be any person who thinks that he is speaking on behalf of the Prophet. No, if that thing clashes with the Quran, then because the Quran holds that authority, that superiority, we in no way can say that it can prevail over the Quran. So such is the authority of the Quran. And obviously, because of the fact that the Quran has this authority, we give it full weight, we give it full consideration. And as far as understanding the Quran is concerned, yes, the same two people can interpret one verse of the Quran differently. But it doesn't mean that the Quran has different meanings. It only means that maybe some of the two, or maybe one of the two, is not interpreting it correctly, maybe not applying principles correctly, and there is something which is amiss and something which is wrong. And so therefore, it is the arguments which will decide a particular point of view to be correct or not.